welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. I come to you tonight with the candles burning, the autumn crown on my head, because I'm going to be doing some more recommendations for this time of year. So it is October. It is my favorite time of the year. It is the perfect time to curl up with a good book. And there have been, I've done a fall recommendations video, and there are loads of recommendations for books to read this time of year. But I wanted to do one in that same vein, but also maybe for some books that I haven't heard that much about. So I think these ones are slightly underhyped and aren't perhaps on everyone's list. Now, I'm going to have lists coming out of your ears because this is my favorite time of the year and I have lots of recommendations. But I think this one, we'll keep it to the slightly more underhyped books. And also the feel for this video is very fairy tale-esque, very kind of gothic fairy tale and witchy, two of my favorite things for the season. So in that vein, let's start with this gorgeous book here, A Dreadful Splendour. So this is for anybody that loves those classic Victorian gothic vibes. This book, it features seances, it features ghosts, it features crumbling mansions, it features lords of the manor, and it has all of the fabulous October vibes that you could possibly want. So this story centers on our main character. She is basically a swindler in London. She does seances and contacts the dead for rich widows mainly, but basically she doesn't have any powers. She doesn't believe she has any powers. She learnt this from her mother. They used to go around and basically make their money this way, conning money out of the grieving families, but also perhaps robbing them in the process. Now, she is caught doing one of her schemes, dragged down to the local police station, where she's sitting in the waiting room and being told that actually she's going to be locked up and she may be hanged because guess what? She's also got a murder charge hanging over her head. When she stumbles across this other gentleman that is in the waiting room, and it turns out that he is the lawyer for a wealthy lord whose wife has just died. Now, we think that she killed herself, but that may not necessarily be true. So what the lawyer says is, I'm going to get you off of these charges. I will make sure that you do not go to jail. I'll make sure you do not hang if you come with me to this crumbling, decaying manor with this lord that may or may not be a murderer. We don't know. And you do a fake seance because, he needs comfort. So if you say that, his wife is here and she's all happy and she wants him to be happy, then all's good. As you can imagine, it doesn't quite go that way. There's a lot of sort of intrigue. There's a lot of people are lying. There's kind of this rich society at the time. I love our heroine. There's a bit of romance. Oh, it's glorious. It's glorious. And I highly recommend it for the season. I think it only has a couple of thousand Goodreads reviews as well, if that many. So definitely underhyped. Then this one here as well, I think underhyped and perfect for October. Our Wicked Histories by Amy Goldsmith. Fabulously atmospheric. And let me just say, if you're looking for something to read that has Halloween in it, this one here. So this story features a group of kind of high schoolers. This is a YA, so we're talking 17-year-olds. And there seem to have been some falling out at their exclusive kind of prep school they go to. But one of them has now invited this group to her gorgeous, crumbling, there's a theme here, gothic manor in Ireland. And there's all these kind of legends around this area. There's this lake outside of the house that may or may not have a legend about a drowned lady calling out to people, luring them to their death, perhaps. But anyway, so these friends all go for over the Halloween weekend, and there is the actual Halloween party in here. But there's also this thing about something that happened when they were at school, and you start to unravel what the story is, and you start, again, secrets and lies. There's noises in the middle of the night, people go missing, and then you slowly find out what has happened while they were at school, and then what is happening currently over this Halloween weekend. It is fantastic. Hugely recommend that. Then, witches! Okay, I like a witch. And let me preface this with, I'm not usually your fluffy and your cozy, right? I like it more spooky. I like it more dark. None of these are terribly dark. That's what I will say. If you don't like really, really dark stuff, if you just like the atmosphere, this is all about the atmosphere. But may I recommend In the Company of Witches by Aurelie Wallace. Oh, this book is delightful. It is If you like practical magic, if you like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, if you like Charmed, please read this. It is so much fun. So the basic premise is you have it's actually, I was going to say it's two sisters, but it's actually also the brother. They own a guest house in this little town. And their niece is staying with them as well because her husband has just passed away and she's kind of grieving and she's staying with her aunts. And they are witches. However, the local community doesn't know this. You know, there's the old ramblings about, oh, those sisters, they do things, they walk past and, you know, the plants die and all of this fun stuff. But anyway, they're not out, you know. So they have this guest staying at their guest house and she dies. And there's all these questions around, how did she die? Was she perhaps murdered? And are the aunts the reason she was murdered? So the niece actually takes it upon herself to then investigate and find out what actually happened to Constance, their guest. And again, you've got all these like little secrets and things in this town, and she goes around. The cat is gorgeous. Dog, the crow. It's called Dog. It's brilliant. I love the crow. You know, there's a pet crow, there's a black cat. It hits all of your classic vibes. It is also set in this time of year, so it's set in fall. They talk about pumpkin spice. They talk about the crisp apples and, you know, the crisp air and the scent of things, and that it is just, you know, autumn in a book. And it's, if you like witchy books that aren't, you know, wicked, this is adorable. It's a lovely murder mystery and very sweet. Talking about witchy books that aren't terribly wicked but are sublime, may I suggest Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood, and also hello at this edition, exclusive edition Waterstones. Thank you very much. This is adorable. Now, I will say I'm halfway through and I'm going to pace myself for the second half, and I'll tell you why in a second. So, Rewitched is the story of Belladonna Blackwood. That name, right? Oh my God, I wish my mother had called me Belladonna Blackwood. Anyway, my family tragedy. I have not got a cool name. Moving on. Belladonna Blackwood, she's on the cusp of her 30th birthday. She works in a bookstore. She's a manager there. The person that owns the bookstore, the lady, keeps telling her that she should buy it off of her because she's retiring. And she's like, no, can't take the risk, scared. She's very sweet. She has a very comfortable life, but she doesn't like taking risks. She doesn't like the unknown. She likes what she knows. And she's very comfortable in her life. She is a witch. She has always known this. She's always had magic. But she uses her magic in very minor ways, you know, to stir the coffee, to clean up the kitchen if she made a mess. Nothing spectacular. And then one day this mysterious stranger turns up at the bookstore and is like, did you get the letter? Why did you not read the letter? Why did you not respond? And she's like, whoa, dude, what are you talking about, right? So it turns out that her coven, whose headquarters are also in Highgate Cemetery. How cool is that? This is set in London, by the way. That her coven has this thing where on your 30th birthday, you have to go for this like evaluation. It's like a job eval. Terrifying. And basically they go through moments in your life of where you've used magic, and you're supposed to demonstrate that you are responsible and that you're using your magic in a way that has an impact. And of course, when she's younger, it starts off really well, and then, yeah, it doesn't go well. They like you every time you use your magic, it's just from a place of fear. Like, or if you're not feeling, she's very insecure. Like, she uses it to make herself look better, for example, but she doesn't really do anything great. So basically, the consequences are that she's going to have her magic taken away from her. And one of the ladies is like, no, whoa, we can't do this. Let's give her another chance. Let's give her the month of October. And this is why I'm halfway through. The whole month of October until Halloween, she will be working with a mentor. And this mentor will teach her all the fundamentals of magic. And then she's going to do a trial at Halloween. And then they will decide whether she can keep her magic. So that is why I'm going to read the rest, the second. So this is where I am right now. I'm going to read the second half of that book as we're going through October, and then the finale and Halloween, because that'll make me very happy. Then the other bit that I love, the other thing that I love so much is fairy tales. I love fairy tales, and I love dark fairy tales. And these next two books, well, next three books actually, are perfect. So this is After the Forest by Kel Woods. How appropriate. I mean, this cover is absolutely stunning, and I've never heard anyone talk about this. So this is essentially Hansel and Gretel as adults, and they're kind of remembering in part what happened to them when they encountered the witch in the gingerbread house in the classic fairy tale. This is set, first of all, in Germany, near the Black Forest in Bavaria, where I'm from, which is really cool. Never read a book about that. But so instantly very atmospheric. This is actually set at Walpurgisnacht in the beginning, but on the back it says ginger, honey, cinnamon, flour. What Greta does is she bakes gingerbread, basically to earn money because Hans is a gambler and he's basically gambled all their money away and she's trying to keep them afloat. But also the recipe for this gingerbread comes from a book that talks. And this may or may not have been the Witch's Spellbook. So all of that is just, and if you do not eat gingerbread while reading this book, you have to with the gingerbread. But and so you've got that element, it's perfect, and you've got the forest, and you've got this whole kind of fairy tale-esque thing, because also she's kind of called a witch, and they've like been burning witches and that, so her brother's always like, just be really careful, you know, they're calling you a witch because you're unmarried and you're a bit strange and all of that. And I would say though, it's very slow, it's very with the atmosphere, it's very much building up the story. There's also this kind of threat of a war, there has been wars, the threat of a war in the background. You have the Empress Elizabetha, who's a little odd. And then, but I would say if you find it a bit slow going, just carry on, enjoy the atmosphere. Page 150 starts to pop off. All I will say is wolves, shapeshifters, bears, I mean, all of the classic fairy tale tropes. But I just think this is beautiful, and I think more people should read it. And I really love it. And it's perfect for this time of year. Then another dark fairy tale-esque book is The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roxani Choczki? I'm so sorry. But this book is like a 5+++ star read for me. It's one of my favorites. And this is the same person that wrote The Gilded Wolves, that trilogy, which I now have because I had never read that. But after reading this, I'm reading that. This is just spectacular. So this is set in the modern world. This is not in a fairy, this is like set in the real world, but it is the story of the bridegroom. Now we never find out his name. He's chapters, this is dual POV, but he's chapters of the bridegroom, and he marries this incredibly beautiful, mysterious heiress called Indigo, and she is literally like a fairy come to life. Everything, the descriptions of her, the descriptions of her house, the descriptions of like the food she eats, the way she behaves. And you come to realize it's because you get the chapters of her growing up with her best friend Azure. So Indigo and Azure, first of all, how stunning. They believed that they were essentially like changelings, and they were going to go back to the other world, to the fairy realm. And everything is about like living as if you are a fairy in this fairy tale. And her parents died. She's living with her aunt in this great big mansion, very wealthy. And this is the story, their childhood story, and then his current story. And he starts to realize there's something not quite right about Indigo and about this house and about her story. And this kind of unravels. But what I love most about this is it is that feeling of being in a fairy tale, in a fae castle, and I just want to live like Indigo and Azure now. They are my entire personality. It is beautiful, and it's so beautifully written. And then one of my new favorite books is Tales of a Monstrous Heart by Jennifer Delaney. I adore this book, and again, if you like fairy tales, this is like an adult Harry Potter fairy tale-esque book. It's so beautiful. It's a beautiful romance. You have all sorts of creatures and wonderful goings on in here, like a mystery. You have this kind of magical world. You have this girl who is a witch and has these powers. and you've got the fae, you've got all, it's just again atmosphere upon layers of atmosphere, but also, like I said, a lovely love story, a great like a mystery, finding out what happened to her. There's so much heart. I cried at the end of this book, and I do not cry easy. I don't. And this just was fabulous. Again, it has stakes, but it's not like horrible. It's beautiful, and it just, so much emotion in this book. I love it. So that's my list. Tell me if you've read any of them. Tell me what you thought, and give me any of your suggestions for more wonderful atmospheric autumn October reads. I'll speak to you all very soon. Bye.